I am Dr. Krishnamurthy, Assistant Professor of Botany, KSOU. I am going to introduce the topic algae today. This is for both BSc Botany students and MSc Botany students. And now I will introduce the introduction of the algae. During the rainy season, the slippery green structures we see on the shady and moist places, these are called algae. So, algae, a Latin word which literally means seaweeds. Algae are placed in Thylophyta. Thylophyta is a division of plants kingdom containing relatively simple plants with no distincts of leaves, stems or roots. Even fungi and lichens are of Thylophyta groups. The name algae was first given by Linnaeus. Algae may be defined as thalloid, autotrophic and non-vascular plants. The study of algae is called as phycology. Nearly there are about 30,000 species of algae are found in the world. Algae are generally autotrophic. That too, they are photoautotropic. That means they can produce their own food materials. They are motile or they are non-motile. If they are motile, they move with the cilia and flagella, but can also exist in the form of symbionts and also parasites. Algae are commonly known as pond scum, can be seen easily growing on water surface, ponds, ditches, tanks, pools and even marshy places. Algae show no differentiation into tissues or tissue system. However, some algae have advanced complex thalli with a slight differentiation of the tissues like vulva or sargassum. In these species there is a slight differentiation. All the algae except a few are aquatic. Most of the algae are aquatic. All the cells of the thallus are morphologically and physiologically similar. The cell has cell wall. In algae, sex organs are unicellular generally, but when multicellular, each cell is capable of reproduce. Sex organs are never surrounded by sterile jacket layer. That means, in algae, the sex organs are naked. Reproduction in algae takes place by three methods. That is, one is vegetative and asexual and sexual modes. No embryo is formed after gametic fusion. New plants develops after meiotic division in the zygote. Sporophytic and gametophytic generations are independent when represented in the cycle, in the life cycle. Generally, the main plant is gametophyte in case of algae. Habitat of algae. Habitat means where they are actually living. So, algae are of universal in occurrence. That means everywhere you can see the algae because of their presence in nearly all types of habitats. They are found in freshwater, marine water, on soil, on rocks and on stones, on sands, in very hot condition, in very cold condition, that is in snow, on the tree trunks, in the plant, that is endophytic, on the plants, that means epiphytic, in the animals, that is endozoic, or on the animals epizoic. Like this, there are various kinds of habitats of algae. On the basis of these kind of habitats, they may be called as aquatic. Aquatic means they are living in water, that is freshwater or marine water. And terrestrial. Terrestrial means on the ground, above the ground or in the soil or on the rocks. These are terrestrial algae. And there are also specialized types. They live in extensively high conditions or extensively icy conditions. Those are called as specialized types of algae. Aquatic algae, most of the algae are found in freshwater or marine water. In freshwater algae, free floating algae as Spirogyra. There are a species called as Spirogyra, they are free floating algae. Or some of the algae are attached to the substratum. Example, Ulothrix, they usually attach to any substratum in the water. Marine algae are common in salty water of sea and oceans. Example, Enteromorpha or Caulerpa or Vulva or Codium, these are all the species which are in living in sea water or salty water, are found in marine water. There are benthophytes. Benthophytes means they are attached forms. They cannot float freely in water. Freshwater benthophytes are Chara, Nightella, etc. are the marine water forms are Lamellaria and Focus, etc. Euplanktonophytes, they are free living algae. They are never attached to any substratum. They remain free. So, they are called as euphytoplanktons. On the other hand, there are Ptychoplanktonophytes. These algae starts their life as attached form, but later on they become free floating. So, example Edogonium. Second one is terrestrial algae. Those algae which are found in soil, on soil, are termed as terrestrial algae. The algae makes a green film on the surface of the soil. These are of two types. One is saprophytes. The algae is found in the surface of the soil. Example, Betridium or Wucheria. These are all the algae which found in the soil. The second one is cryptophytes. The algae is found in the subterranean region. They are found in the soil. Example, Acylotria, Anabina, Nostoc. These are cryptophytes. And next, specialized algae. What are specialized algae? Such algae are found in the places other than water and soil. They are found in extremely specialized habitats. They are the thermal algae. The name itself specifies that thermal means these algae are found in hot water, spring water above 70 degrees centigrade temperature. They can survive well in such high temperatures. Another specialized algae is halophytic algae. These algae found in high salt conditions. So, there are high salt condition algae, there are high temperature algae, and there are very snow area algae. So, these are extreme conditions. They grow in such conditions. They are called as specialized algae. And you can heard that lithophytic algae. This lithophytic, litho means rocks. The name itself indicates rocks. So, these lithophytic algae commonly grows on wet rocks or wet walls like this. And there are endophytic algae. The name itself indicates that these are endophytic algae, means these algae are found inside the higher plants. So, for example, Nostoc is found in the thallus of the Anthoceras, and the Anabina grows inside the coralloid roots of cycas plants. The other is the endozoic algae. So, endozoic means they found inside the body of the aquatic animals. So, inside the body of the aquatic animals, they are called as endozoic algae. There are parasitic algae. Some of the algae are heterotrophic in nature. That means they cannot produce their own food materials. So, these algae grows on the tea leaves. So, that causes diseases to the tea leaves, tea rust. So, that disease causes. So, these are called as parasitic algae. They are completely depending upon the tea leaves for their food materials. There are symbiotic algae. So, symbiotic means there is a relationship between mutual give and take policy. So, these symbiotic forms with other plants, example lichens is a very good example for the symbiotic nature. So, these algae are in symbiotic nature with the fungi. So, they are called as symbiotic algae. They becomes lichens. So, lichens are the best symbiotic relationship forms which includes algae and the fungi. Let us see the classification of algae. Classification of algae is based on various characteristic features. Majorly is the presence of the chief pigments present in them. Though algae are autotrophic and they produce their own food materials with photosynthesis, they do have other coloring pigments other than chlorophyll. A brief account of characteristic of 11 classes of algae as proposed by the Fritsch in 1945 are: number 1, chlorophyceae, that is green algae; number 2, xanthophyceae; and number 3, chrysophyceae; number 4, basilarophyceae or diatoms; number 5, cryptophyceae; and number 6, dinophyceae. 7 is chloromonadinae, and 8 is euglenoidinae, and 9 is Phaeophyceae, and 10 Rhodophyceae, and 11 Cyanophyceae or Mixophyceae. Let us see one by their characteristic features. Chlorophyceae, these are called as green algae as they possesses rich pigments like chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, and also associated with some amount of yellow pigments. Pyrenoids, the micro components within the chloroplasts of algae, are present in all the members of this class except the members of the order Siphoneles. The reserve food material is starch. Majority of these algae are freshwater forms. Few species are terrestrial and even marine forms. These green algae reproduce by vegetatively and asexually and also sexual means. Xanthophyceae. Xanthophyceae, also called as yellow-green algae. These members of this class are yellow-green in color because of the presence of xanthophyll pigments. They lack pyrenoids. Reserve food material is in the form of oil drops in this class. So, these are freshwater algae, but few are marine. These algae reproduce again sexually by means of microscopic gametes with unequal cilia. And next one is Chrysophyceae. These are unicellular forms which possesses orange color due to the presence of phycochrysin. This is the pigment. So, reserve food material is in the form of oils and leucosin. So, these are freshwater and marine water forms. Coming to Basilorophyceae, they are also called as diatoms. This is a very important class in the algae classes. These algae are yellow, golden brown or olive green in color. The chief pigment is diatomine. So, they are called as diatoms. So, because of their golden brown color and their varied structural ornamentation, they are called as the jewels of the plant kingdom. So, these are unicellular forms which sometimes form small colonies. Pyrenoids are also present and hence the reserve food material is naturally starch. They are fresh and marine water forms in habitat. Next one is Cryptophyceae. The members of this class greatly vary in the color of their plant body. These are usually brown, red or even blue-green in color. The real nature of the pigment or pigments which render such a variety of colors is not definitely actually known. So, these are freshwater and marine forms also characterized by the presence of two large parietal chloroplasts, that is the chloroplast which is located along the surface of the thallus in the cell, all cells. The next class is Dinophyceae. The members of this class are brown or dark yellow in color. The chief pigment is pyrophyll, which is a combination of yellowish green pigment, chlorophyll, dark red pyridinin and red phycoerythrin. These forms are characterized by the presence of several discoid chloroplast cells. The next class is chloromonadinae. These are bright green which consists discoid chloroplasts here also and large prominent nucleus. Reserve food material is in the form of fat and starch. They possesses excess of xanthophylls pigments. So, these are characterized by the presence of many discoid chloroplasts. The next is euglenoidinae. These are naked and flagellated which according to Fritsch show a more definite trend in the direction of the animal organization. Majority of them lack chromatophores. Chromatophores are special organs or sac-like structures which contain pigmentations. Actually, the pigment present in these kind of organs, so which are completely absent here. Next is Phaeophyceae. The members of this class are generally known as brown algae. Structurally, these are the most complex algae. Pigments include chlorophyll A and chlorophyll C, beta carotene and xanthophylls. The brown color is due to the excess of fucoxanthin. Commonly, these algae are called as seaweeds. They are marine forms. Reserve food material is in the form of laminarin and mannitol. Algin and fucoidin is present in the cellulosic cell wall. Reproduction is by vegetative and sexual methods. Sexual reproduction ranges from isogamy to oogamy. Motile cells are biflagellate with unequal length. So, flagella are unequal and are attached to the laterally. Next is rhodophysi. Rhodophysi means red algae. Majority of these forms are marine and only few are freshwater forms. So, members are called red algae. So, major pigments includes chlorophyll A and chlorophyll D, B carotene, xanthophylls and phycobilins, R phycoerythrin, R phycocyanin and allophycocyanin. The color of this algae is red due to the presence of excess of phycoerythrin pigments. So, reserve food materials is Floridian starch. Sexual reproduction is specialized and oogamous. Motile cells are totally absent in this class of algae. The last class is cyanophysi or mixophysi. They are called as blue-green algae. These are prokaryotic algae. Thallus is very simple and unicellular. They are colonial forms. Few are multicellular bodies. Pigments of this class are phycobilin and phycoerythrin and C phycoerythrin. The color of the algae is due to the presence of excess of phycocyanin. So, reserve food material is cyanophysian starch. This is a special starch. The cell wall is made up of mucopeptides. Most of the members are embedded in mucilaginous sheath. So, false branching and special cells heterocysts are present in this class are characteristic features of several members of this class.